My father was a lighthouse keeper. My mother was a queen. But life has a way of bringing people together.
Hello and welcome to our wrestling
perspective.
If you like our content, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you disagree, give it a thumbs down, but don't give it a thumbs down. In the famous words of Culk, sub it, cousin. In this video, we will be reviewing none other than the all-male pay-per-view. Just kidding. The pay-per-view that took place in Saudi Arabia, probably the most controversial pay-per-view we have seen in years.
Yeah.
But not wrestling-wise, just publicity-wise. On the pre-show, we saw the first match of the US title defense. We saw Rusev up against Shinsuke Nakamura. It was alright. It was just like another SmackDown match. Just a bit more wrestling to it. It was alright.
Easily the highlight was Shinsuke headbutting Bruce.
Oh yeah, the dirty tactic with that, with the ref not paying attention and him being like, oh, that was accident, and how he picked it up and that.
When Shinsuke can find different ways to, hit you in the groin. The real big problem is though, Shinsuke needs a feud.
Yep. It's good to see what Shinsuke will have for himself in the future. He's got Seth Rollins in the future. That was the winner out of this match versus Seth Rollins, the Survivor Series. Now, we are looking forward. Match number 2, we saw the first ever Crown Jewel Best in the World Cup qualifying match.
Whatever it's called.
Exactly right. We saw the Viper Randy Orton up against the returning Rey Mysterio, and I found out a reason why he didn't have the cross on the mask. Because Christian not allowed over in Saudi Arabia, so he has to have the R.
Is that why?
Yep. So he had to have the R instead.
So you still liked the tie though, yeah?
The match was alright.
Look, there's always going to be chemistry between Orton and Mysterio, but to be honest, I was actually just surprised that Mysterio actually picked up the victory.
Exactly. For Randy Orton to have all this built-up steam and just to lose.
But with Orton attacking Mysterio after the match, it didn't make him look weak in comparison.
If it was anyone to be best in the world from SmackDown side, it should have been Randy Orton. Hands down.
Hands down.
The second World Cup qualifying match for the SmackDown live part, we saw the charismatic enigma himself, the broken, the Itchweed, the Willow, whatever, Jeff Hardy.
Don't say Willow.
Up against Mike Mizanin, we saw The Miz. So, The Miz versus Jeff Hardy, it was alright. Miz picking up the win though was,
Having The Miz and Mysterio go into the next round of the tournament was a real shock. But, breath of fresh air on that part.
It wasn't as predictable as we thought.
No, it wasn't. Especially Miz winning clean as well.
Exactly.
You don't see that happen all the time, do you?
Miz win clean since when? Not even. Match 4, we saw the Raw side of the World Cup, Saudi Arabian Best in the World qualifying match. We saw, let's give it to him, Lashley up against Seth Rollins, the one that wants to burn it down but yet be the architect.
Pyromaniac.
Exactly right. This match, it was alright, but I was very disappointed that Bobby didn't pick up the win. You had Leo by your side.
Well, Lashley wasn't supposed to be in the match at the beginning. It was supposed to be John Cena.
Exactly, but yeah, you had him dominate Finn and then only to lose to Seth, making Finn even more of a less credible champion that he was back in the day.
But you have to remember with Lashley though, he is working through an injury though.
Working through an injury.
But easily though, the worst part of the match, where was Leo Rush on the mic?
Leo Rush needed to be more on the mic.
Need more Leo Rush.
More man of the year. Match 5, we saw another World Cup Best in the World qualifying match, but for the Raw side, we saw Dolph Ziggler with his Drew McIntyre on his side up against the guy that won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. Oh, it's true. It's damn true. Kurt Angle. So we have to fill in as much catchphrases as we can because that's what he does on Raw.
Should make a video on it.
I know, yeah. What can I say? It really hurt my childhood watching Kurt Angle trying to keep up with Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler tried. He tried to carry that match.
And it's good to see Kurt wrestle.
Always
but
good.
with Dolph Ziggler, that's like a Ferrari, and you have
Kurt Angle, like my Toyota Camry.
and that's it. It was still a good nostalgia match, and from low heights of a caddy, Dolph Ziggler, to beating the guy that won a gold freaking medal with a broken neck.
Just with a zigzag on top of things.
Exactly right. Match number 6, we saw the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships go on the line one more time. We saw the Bar up against the New Day.
New Day?
In my opinion, New Day shouldn't have lost the tag belts.
That was much needed.
The Bar with the Big Show. Hopefully we can see...
I still don't get why he's there.
Hopefully we can see him just bugger off. And have the Bar versus
He'll
the
turn
Club.
face eventually, don't worry.
But what can we say? It was good for what it was. SmackDown Live title defense for the tag
It's
belts.
always going to be a good match, even if it's going to be a throwaway match between the Bar and the New Day. They have great chemistry. It's always going to work out every time. But if the New Day are at the tag team title scene, I believe the Usos are next to be contenders.
That's a match I'd like to see.
But before we actually get into the next match, if we're seeing champions versus champions, who's the Bar going to verse?
They're not going to verse Dean Ambrose and Seth. Hopefully they're going to have a gauntlet match to get rid of the whole Raw tag. All I got to say, SmackDown tag, even though they have the Big Show of the Bar, it's better than what Raw has.
Beat?
Match number 7, we saw the semi-final of the Best in the World Qualifier, Crown Jewel, Cup winner, whatever. We saw...
He's giving up, guys.
We saw Miz up against Mysterio. Wait, is that right?
Yeah, Rey Mysterio versus The Miz in the semi-final match on SmackDown's side. Do you know what's even more shocking than seeing that for a semi-final? The Miz winning and going into the final. I know that Mysterio got attacked by Randy after the match, hence why Mysterio lost. But The Miz...
It was at this point that I thought The Miz would have gone to Raw.
At this point, yes.
For sure.
For sure. But look, if we see The Miz winning matches, especially clean, I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not. He should be the one to beat AJ Styles. We'll get to that another day.
Match number 8, we saw another World Cup semi-final qualifying match to determine who's the best in the world. We saw Burn It Down, Seth Rollins up against Dolph Ziggler with Drew McIntyre on the side, the former Raw Tag Team Champions. And also Dolph Ziggler was a former Intercontinental Champion before Seth Rollins beat him and curb stomped him and all that other stuff. We saw Dolph Ziggler pin Seth Rollins with no Dean Ambrose interference. We saw...
Look, Ziggler and Rollins. They've had great matches all year.
Of course.
Always, every time, even, just like Bar and New Day. Any type of throwaway match will be great.
Ziggler needed Raw. That was...
Ziggler needs it. He needed McIntyre more than McIntyre needed him.
Yep.
Unfortunately to say, look, McIntyre's going to become Universal Champion.
Hopefully we
Next
see
year
those three get pegged into the Universal scene when Brock eventually goes.
Look, even though it's sad that Seth lost, you did bring it up from before. It's great to see Nakamura versus Seth at Survivor Series.
Nakamura.
But
and Seth Survivor Series are going to take it down.
Is that when Ambrose is going to interfere?
Hopefully. Hopefully. We'll just have to wait. Match number 9, we saw the WWE Championship once again get defended. AJ Styles, the phenomenal one, up against Wendy in Samoa Joe. I love how they cut the promos, making it seem like it was a feud that went on to actual Crown Jewel.
It was over. It was over.
They, right after the video package of him knocking on the door, they didn't add any more onto it, that AJ actually beat him.
Remember, how did Jeff Hardy qualify? He beat Samoa Joe.
Exactly right.
But
and they didn't add
we're
that.
not supposed to notice that.
No. It's
We're
Crown
supposed to
Jewel.
forget.
You're meant to enjoy it.
It would have been a lot better if Daniel Bryan actually did attend, but he did have his reasons, hence why, like him, John Cena didn't attend as well. Yep. Bryan would have been more of a fresh air in that match. I'm not going to complain about a Joe match of AJ. They should always be great, but you didn't like Super Showdown because he tapped. This time he lost to an elbow.
I know.
How do you feel?
Come on, fix Joe already, please. Just do something with him. Match number 10, the semi-main event for the evening. We saw Braun Strowman up against Brock Lesnar for the recently vacated Universal Championship because Roman had to give it up because he's fighting a battle with leukemia. Get better, big doge.
All the best.
Braun and Brock, 5 F5s and it was done. Well, what can we add more to that? He pegged him outside of the ring.
That was the 4th F5. Yeah, he had Baron Corbin as well before the match even started. Smacked Braun Strowman with the Universal title. It's, regardless, with Roman, who was out of this match, without him in there, it was going to be a lose-lose situation. Braun is hot, I get it,
This
but
is the thing.
should he be champion already?
No, Braun. Anyone that was thinking Braun was going to win this had probably had a screw loose in their head, because Brock Lesnar was the one to finish the streak. And it took a whole year of Roman speaking verbal garbage on a microphone to eventually take over the beast. So for someone that didn't even beat Roman Reigns to beat Brock Lesnar, who beat the streak, it would have made just more of a kerfuffle than what it is. I knew that Brock Lesnar was going to win. We all knew that Brock Lesnar was going to win. We should have all knew that Brock Lesnar was going to win.
I didn't
That's
know.
how it
I
happened.
didn't.
He walked out two-time, first ever
Two-time, yes.
Universal Champion.
He's easily going to hold it all the way to... Actually, wait, no. Apparently, he only has 2 more appearances on his contract. So,
Hopefully that add... Okay, please add like a multi-man match and just get the belt off of him. Say, see you
Seth.
later, and there you
Seth.
go. No,
Seth.
not Seth. Drew
Seth.
McIntyre.
But,
Drew McIntyre.
but we do have something else to look forward to, just like Shinsuke versus Seth.
To see the phenomenal AJ Styles up against Brock Lesnar, the recently two-time Universal Champion.
There's actually a lot of people who aren't looking forward to that, but I am.
I
That
would've-
match was great
I would
last
have
year.
preferred it if it was Samoa Joe up
Versus-
against Brock.
Yeah, that was good as well.
So that would
been
have
good,
been more sadistic, bringing that Brock out like... I've never seen Brock lose it at someone like he lost it at Samoa Joe, but
yeah. No, he must have
AJ...
had Braun worse.
I know, he punched him in the head. AJ, Brock, they're going to put a good match. Match 11, sorry, I said the other one was a semi-main event, which it should have been, but now we see the final of the World Cup Crown Jewel Best in the World Trophy winner.
Gold
match.
trophy.
No, final,
Yeah.
grand final, you know. We saw The Miz, no, sorry. We saw Shane McMahon
What?
up against Dolph Ziggler, and Drew wasn't with Dolph.
Got kicked out. Got kicked out.
And we saw Shane
Beat Ziggler.
win.
Yeah.
I loved the celebration at the end, made him seem more cocky.
Like a Daniel Bryan cashing in on the Big Show type when he won the World Heavyweight title. I don't know what to say, McMahon.
Our face. Match 12, the main event. What everyone was looking for the 5th time ever. We saw, it was probably the 5th time ever, we saw the Brothers of Destruction, Kane and The Undertaker, up against the returning bold men of D-Generation X. We saw Triple H and a bold Shawn Michaels. I have to stress how much times he's bold. But he hasn't missed a step in that
He
freaking
hasn't.
ring.
Look, he hasn't missed a step, but I do miss his hair.
Yeah.
But without the bandana, it's still Shawn to me, so I don't care. A few highlights of that match. It was all Shawn. Triple H, like usual, would have carried the match, but he got injured during the match, which is very evident towards the end. When Triple H is slower than The Undertaker and Kane, there is something wrong with that picture. But, even better than that, Kane's mask fell off.
I know, yeah. If
This
this
was
fell off of his face,
If this was like 15 years ago, I
hair
would
and
have
everything,
marked.
on the floor.
Props there to the cameraman zooming into Shawn on top of the turnbuckle just so we wouldn't see him. But in the
Yep.
replay, yeah, we saw a bald Kane.
We saw a short-haired Kane. Overall, for Crown Jewel, I would say Evolution I preferred more than Crown Jewel.
Yep.
Just because story was more into Evolution and it wasn't much slap in the face endings.
And the difference was we didn't have Stephanie McMahon win a trophy on Evolution.
Exactly right. We didn't see her come out in the Battle Royal and then win it for herself.
We didn't see Lita and Trish as a tag team main event against 2 overall timers.
Exactly right.
No hate on DX. Big fan.
No hate on the old-time veterans. They made the wrestling to the point where we watch it today. But Crown Jewel for the overall of it. Hopefully they added more of a step the next time that isn't a trophy that gets won by Shane McMahon.
Yeah,
I have
the
a
one
theory.
before that was another trophy as well, wasn't it? Well, no, it was a title belt.
Exactly right.
That's it,
I
yeah.
have a theory. It was a trophy and a title belt. I have a theory that next time they go to Saudi Arabia, it'll probably be the greatest Money in the Bank.
So, do they cash it in, or is it just a briefcase they get to keep? If anything, once again, another glorified house show, just like in our beloved country. But this was a great build for Survivor Series. We do have Becky versus Ronda. We do have Shinsuke versus Seth. We have Brock versus AJ. And potentially, we might even have Taker versus Shawn.
Person I felt sorry for was probably Renee Young wearing that whole get-up. Fair enough, it's their religion, but you would have been sweating like a mad person under that.
Oh,
For
yeah.
sure, having
Oh,
all of
yeah.
that covering you instead of
They still
the
have
usual.
fun, though.
Of course they have fun, but no way would I be able to handle the heat over there.
Do you know how you can tell Michael Cole had fun? He wasn't on his phone.
Yeah, that's it. It wasn't on his phone like in Evolution. But overall, Saudi Arabia, done and dusted.
Wasn't
Not to
worth
see
me
again.
staying up and falling asleep early morning. Wasn't worth it.